Good evening. Surgeons have removed a brain tumor described as almost certainly cancerous from CIA Director William Casey. The 73-year-old top spy went under the knife today at a hectic time when otherwise he would have been under oath, testifying about the Iran-Contra affair. Doctors operated for more than 5 hours at Georgetown University Hospital in Washington. The tumor was in the left side of his brain, which controls movement on the right side of the body. A hospital spokesman called Casey's condition treatable and said he should be able to resume normal activities shortly. Experts generally agreed.
Ordinarily, a person of that age would come through this fairly smoothly and be up in ambulatory within a day or two and be out of the hospital within a week or two.
Surgeons were convinced by the look of the tumor that it was cancerous. Test results due next week are expected to confirm that, and clearly, Casey's Capitol Hill testimony will be on hold for some time.
Meanwhile, Colonel Oliver North, who has refused to testify about that Iran-Contra business, is hinting tonight that he is being used as a scapegoat. He is feeling mounting pressure, he says, from Washington insiders to waive his Fifth Amendment rights not to answer questions, and he made it clear today that he resents that.
I have, over the last 23 days, found myself abandoned by former friends and so-called friends and colleagues. I don't believe the president really wants me to abandon my individual rights in the Constitution. People have died face down in the mud all over the world defending those individual rights.
North says he is following the advice of his attorneys in his refusal to testify.
Eugene Hasenfus seems destined now to testify on Capitol Hill about the Contra connection. The convicted gun runner arrived back in the United States today, saying he is thankful to be home for the holidays. Just yesterday, he was pardoned by the Nicaraguan government and set free. He had been sentenced to 30 years in prison for airlifting weapons to the Contra rebels. Now another American faces trial in Nicaragua on similar charges. He is Sam Hall, the brother of Congressman Tony Hall of Ohio. Sam Hall was arrested earlier this week, and today, for the first time, he was permitted to meet with U.S. Embassy officials.
A manhunt by the FBI that began last week in the northwest suburbs of Chicago has ended in San Francisco with the arrest of a fugitive. FBI agents have arrested Joseph William Doherty, a convicted kidnapper and bank robber, in an East Bay night spot. Doherty, who was listed as one of the FBI's most wanted men, has been the target of a search since last Tuesday, the day the FBI agents arrested another fugitive traveling with Doherty in a motel in Arlington Heights. Police report that Doherty surrendered to agents without a fight.
Let's go to Chicago politics. After several weeks of lying low and ducking the press, Jane Byrne made a high-profile campaign appearance today.
Where have you guys been? I'm always looking for you, and I never can find you.
The former mayor's staff is keeping her campaign schedule a closely guarded secret. She has been advised to avoid any mudslinging during the holidays and to stay away from commenting on the chess-like maneuvers of her opponents, Washington, Hynes, and Verdulia. Another opponent, Republican candidate Bernard Epton, is taking in an estimated $30,000 tonight for his campaign war chest. The West Side gathering was sponsored by a group called the New Republicans. It's the first big fundraiser for Epton. It attracted more than 300 supporters.
Two other candidates in the race for mayor are talking about taxes tonight. They are Thomas Hynes and aides to Mayor Washington are crossing swords over real estate taxes, some people who may not be paying their fair share. Our political editor, Mike Flannery, explains.
Establishing the tax assessments of every piece of property in Chicago has long been the job of Thomas Hynes. Now that he's running for mayor, Hynes is going to air this TV commercial boasting of his records.
The Sun-Times said Hynes made the property tax system more fair for homeowners.
But that's not the view of the Mayor Washington administration. While he was handing out gifts to local civic leaders tonight, one of his top aides was handing out some pretty severe criticism of Hynes. The charge is that Hynes has given tax breaks to the owners of big buildings downtown, forcing homeowners to pay more.
I'm not saying there's corruption at the assessor's office. Their failure to do a good job is actually shifting the tax burden from the owners of major real estate onto the backs of little homeowners all across the city and suburbs.
Quinn cites the assessment of the posh Lake Point Tower as an example. Valued by Hynes at $55.8 million, later revalued at $61.8 million when new information was made public, causing a tax increase of $400,000. money that local governments need badly. Hynes says he supported the Lake Point Tower increase after the new information came to his attention. He attacks Quinn's credibility.
He is the revenue director for Mayor Washington, and I would suggest that he should get about the business of collecting the $80 million in uncollected revenues that the city of Chicago has coming, and then he could do something about trying to help lower the real estate tax bills in this city.
All of the candidates in this campaign are ready to talk a lot about taxes. Conscientious voter ought to keep a pocket calculator handy. Mike Flannery, Channel 2 News.
That in a VCR. Still ahead, the son of a Hollywood star is cleared of manslaughter charges.
Also tonight, Chicago firemen threatened to take the city to court over a drug raid in a firehouse. And a remembrance of Mayor Richard Daley, 10 years now after his death.
Raid, one of its own station houses looking for illegal drugs, is under fire tonight. Last night, department officials and police narcotics detectives moved in on Engine Company 19's headquarters on the city's south side. The search turned up no illegal drugs, only 2 cans of beer. The firefighters union says it may sue the city.
They cannot just walk into an employee's life and say, damn with the U.S. Constitution, damn with your employees' rights, you're going to submit to these type of searches.
We have to have reasonable cause before we will start to conduct the surveillance. That was exactly what happened at Engine 19's quarters. They had been under surveillance based on 4 specific complaints we've got, not from anonymous people, but from specific individuals who lived in the area.
Galante says 6 other fire stations in the city are being watched for signs of illegal drug use by firefighters, and that similar surprise searches are a possibility.
22-year-old Griffin O'Neill, the son of the actor Ryan O'Neill, has been cleared of manslaughter charges. He and Giancarlo Coppola, who is the son of the filmmaker Francis Coppola, were in a boating accident in which Coppola was killed. O'Neill was driving the boat when the accident happened. A judge said today there just isn't enough evidence to support a manslaughter charge. O'Neill was convicted of operating the boat in a negligent manner. The late Mayor Richard Daley was remembered today as a man whose love for the city of Chicago was second to none, for whom city politics was a second religion.
It was an accident. I'm still very sorry that it had to happen.
That was, of course, Giancarlo. Well, Coppola was the boy who died. That was Ryan O'Neill's son who was trying to explain it, which is why we cut into our story about Mayor Daley. Try to get that story up for you still. We had a memorial service for Daley in the city council today. Can't show that anymore. Well, he died 10 years ago this week, as you know. Mayor Washington said that Daley, more than anyone else, the mayor said this, made Chicago a world-class city. It's probably a fair thing to say. He was in there for 22 years.
He should have. He was a builder, of course. That was his reputation. But who really knew him? 10 years after his death, just the name brings back strong images, provokes strong opinions and strong emotions. December 20th, 1976, the mayor's press secretary stunned the city with this announcement.
Mayor Richard J. Daley is dead, and we all pray for the soul of this good man. He was pronounced dead at approximately 20 minutes to 4 this afternoon in his doctor's office.
If you lived in Chicago then, you'll remember where you were that day, for the city seemed to stop. Hardly able to believe the man who had made the decisions for more than 20 years was gone. In the 10 years that have passed, books have judged the Daley years, historians have worked the events over. But how do his friends and enemies remember him? What were the personal qualities that made him the most powerful political leader the city has ever known?
The key to his success was, number one, that he loved his job and people could tell that about him. And he kept in the people and the citizens of Chicago had the feeling that no matter what, he number one had them in mind.
He kept his word. If he made a commitment to you, that was as good as having a legal contract in writing.
The sheer genius of the man in putting together an operation which he had inherited by line from Cermak on down and brought it to fruition as a truly well-oiled, functioning political apparatus, if you like, well-oiled, functioning political apparatus.
I mean, I thought that he had this enormous amount of power and was shrewd and you could see the outward manifestations of the power, but you couldn't see the levers themselves, right? All of a sudden, you knew you were in trouble on this or that, and you didn't know where it came from. Right?
Mayor Daley's face was very passive most of the time. When you'd go in his office, I don't think many politicians knew exactly what he was thinking all the time. And I think that was one of his strengths that enabled him to survive.
And I can remember there were times that I would maybe be agitated in consumer affairs to get this done or get that done, or the ordinance wasn't coming out fast enough. And he would sort of sit back and he would say, you know, it's all a big checkerboard. And he said, you know, if you sit back and you watch, and everybody makes their moves, and you don't make yours, and they keep making their moves, and you're studying, he said, pretty soon you can just go boom, 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 king me. He said, that's what it's all about.
You can hear more from those people in an hour broadcast we're going to devote to the Daley years. It comes up tomorrow at 10:30 here on Channel 2.
We have a late-breaking story to report now. Tiny Megan LaRocco, you may remember that name, a 7-month-old girl who had a liver transplant just 2 weeks ago. She's back in surgery at this moment to receive yet another liver transplant. She was rushed into the operating room at Weiler's Children's Hospital. Her body has been showing signs of rejecting the liver that she received in the lengthy operation just after Thanksgiving Day. Hospital officials report that a donor was found only today. One report says the donor was a 3-day-old infant. The surgery could take most of this night. After a break, John Calton will be along to tell us what to expect in the next few days and maybe get us in the Christmas spirit.
And in perspective, Walter explains why this parking ticket could have your name on it, even if you've never been in Chicago.
Spectacular show in Hawaii tonight. Lava continues to pour down the side of that volcano, creating a molten river 7 miles long. 13 homes have already been wiped out. Several more are in danger. The 2,000-degree lava has sparked several small brush fires, but no one's been hurt yet. Since the eruptions began back in July, more than 100 new acres of land have been created on the island of Hawaii.
I just was able to sell John Coughlin on a couple of those acres. Real cheap. A little condo going up there, John.
Well, can you take a check or a credit card?
I'll take a good forecast. What do you have?
Okay, well, this is a good forecast if you don't care for snow, because there's not much chance of any snow, at least for the next couple of days. A white Christmas is not exactly the strongest prospect we have. Here are the current temperatures at 10 o'clock in Chicago. And it's 29 at all reporting stations. The high today was 34. The low so far is at 29. Humidity at this hour is 85%. West winds at 12 miles an hour. The barometer's holding steady. There's sunrise and sunset for tomorrow. Weather map right now shows a big storm up here in the northeast away from the coast. They're getting maybe 1 to sometimes 2 feet of snow in some of the mountains of New York and Pennsylvania and western parts of Massachusetts. For Chicago, mostly clear and mostly mild for this time of year. Temperatures, the high temperatures, 44 in New York. The hot spot today was Hollywood, Florida. They made it up to 84 degrees, 67 degrees out in Phoenix, Arizona, and 68 degrees in Los Angeles. Satellite view of the country shows the clouds are still over Chicago, but just a little bit to the west of us. The skies have begun to clear, and be on the lookout for some sunshine tomorrow, and won't that be a treat? Here's where the rain and snow is. You can see all the storm system up here in the northeast. Some storms and some showers along the Gulf Coast and some over in Arkansas, and a little bit of rain as another system moves across the northern and California coast and parts of the Oregon coast. Tomorrow, high pressure will keep us mild and mostly sunny. It should be a very nice day. Here's the forecast for tonight in Chicago. Partly cloudy and colder. Low will be about 25 degrees. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, warmer, up to about 40 degrees with southwest winds about 8 to 15 miles an hour. Saturday, pretty much the same story. Sunny, high of about 40 degrees. And no chance of, or very little chance of any rain or snow Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday under partly sunny skies with high temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Bill, we're going to have to wait for a white Christmas, I'm afraid. Maybe next year.
Well, your 40 degrees reminds me of Air Jordan. I think he went to 41 tonight. We'll get that from Johnny in a moment. But whatever the temperatures are, it won't be long before we are slipping and sliding on the ice on the streets, looking for places to park the car that are always as close as possible to where we're going. That's the subject tonight of Walter's Perspective.
That's the trouble that comes with the winter, isn't it? That never-ending search for a place to park the car so we don't have to walk in the wind and the cold and the wet and the gray of winter downtown in the Loop where there are no places to park, or where you get a ticket wherever you park. It's not easy in the Loop in this weather, and so if that's where you have to be, what you need to be is well connected, or at the very least connected enough to have some clout among the police. If you know the police on Wacker near Michigan, you can park your car wherever you wish and not get a ticket. Let's say your name is Starziak, Julie Starziak, an assistant to a member of the Illinois General Assembly and a honcho, as they say, in the campaign up there of Jane Byrne for Mayor 87. Her honcho, Miss Starziak, parks her car in a meter that's expired, and she leaves it there all the day long, knowing that the cop who comes by knows her. He knows who Starziak is, so he knows to give her a pass. He appears to be giving her a ticket, Julie Starziak, license plate number JAS 911. It appears that Starziak, like everyone else who parks illegally, is getting a ticket, that there's a cop who's doing his job, a $10 ticket that Julie has to pay like everyone else. It appears, until you examine that ticket and see the license number 372786B on it. It is not the number JAS 911, the Starziak number. You get it? Starziak is parked illegally, but it's the owner of license number 372786B who gets the ticket. Poor guy. Think of all the trouble that's ahead for him, will you? He'll miss his day in court because he doesn't know he's supposed to be in court. He'll get letters from the city. He'll be charged a fine. He'll even be threatened with jail, all because Julie Starziak has business downtown and can park illegally because of the clout she has. I mean, the cop she has to let her do it by putting someone else's license on her ticket. Please, you guys, that's terrible. Don't do that. Got a new streak going.
He
2 games in a row,
certainly has, and the Bulls won the game. The Bulls were down by 11 points tonight at the half, but showed some new life in the second half, beat the Pacers 97-88, 41 points for Michael Jordan. Indiana did have the best of the first half. Wayman Tisdale with the jammer plus the old hanging rim trick. The Pacers led until the fourth quarter, but the Bulls came back. Jordan with the drive through the lane for the off-balance hanging shot, but still down 7. However, Chicago kept up the pressure and finally grabbed the lead as Elson Turner alley-ooped to Jordan, 79-76 Bulls. And when Jordan drove and attracted everybody here, Charles Oakley was all alone for the jammer. The Bulls now 12-11, won it. Final score 97-88. In other games, it was Milwaukee over Atlanta. New Jersey nipped the Knicks by 1. In hockey, the North Stars over Toronto in OT, 3-3 Winnipeg and the Blues, and Philadelphia 9, the Islanders 4. Meanwhile, the Packers have suspended wide receiver James Loft, and he was arrested today for second-degree sexual assault on a woman in Green Bay for the second time in this past year. And it appears that the Bears will have all 3 quarterbacks available for Sunday. TOMCZAK's leg injury has come along a bit faster than expected. He participated in practice this afternoon and threw the ball well. He didn't run all that much, but Mike Ditka is optimistic that TOMCZAK will be ready for Sunday.
I think Mike might play a little bit. We'll wait and see. I mean, I don't want to just... I want to wait and see how his leg feels, how he moves around on it tomorrow, and then he'll let me know, honestly, Sunday. If it feels good enough Sunday, we'll probably play him some.
I don't think I'm going to get lost in the shuffle. I think Mike knows what I can do. And, when I'm behind center, I tend to play well, and the team tends to play well. And so hopefully we can get Doug some more game experience and get him ready in case, he's needed.
So it's going to be Flutie first, then Fuller, or now maybe TOMCZAK. The Bears are favored by 3.5 over the Cowboys. Meanwhile, DePaul was back at work today after beating Creighton last night to go 6-0 for the year. The Blue Demons have moved up in the rankings, and that's okay with Coach Joey Meyer.
I like being ranked. I think it's good recognition, and I think the players deserve it when they're working hard. I would like to creep up on people a little bit more. I would like this come maybe in January or February, but, it's here a little bit early. But we got to learn to deal with it.
The Blue Demons had no less than 17 steals last night. Here, Rodney Strickland on the front end, and the players, they care about the ranking.
To the ranking as far as players, I mean, that's an accomplishment to be in the top 20 because before the season we was a top 50 team. Now we're a top 20 team, and we're going to work a little harder so we can keep moving up.
And finally, a Christmas party on ice for the Blackhawks today. The team held its annual skate for the entire family. Players, their wives, and the kids all had a fun time. There's Keith Brown's son, Cody. He was safe, but not some of the others. It can be dangerous out there for mothers and kids. It can be very dangerous, rough and tumble. This is Philip Sove, who wants to be a goalie just like his dad. And speaking of dads...
This is little Steve.
Steven Theodore.
Steven Theodore. Chicago's first-round pick in 17 years.
Okay, and that's it. We're all out of time.
Merry Christmas to the Blackhawks. See you tomorrow. Good night.